you're new here, welcome to the AutoLust YouTube channel. If you're already an AutoLust family member, thank you. And what's swinging, gang? So we're gonna bring this thing all the way back a few videos. So I mean, Sasha has been going back and forth to the racetrack trying to get her tires to hook. She's been spinning everywhere, trying to get the power down, spinning some more, and things have been crazy. So we finally upgraded her stage 3, well, version 3 custom XHP tune to maybe get torque management right. You know, we haven't been able to test it because once we looked at the data from the last run, we found out that one side of the engine was getting 20 degrees hotter temps than the other side of the engine. And I'm going to show you why. Just a quick run through before we get to the good stuff. So let me show you exactly why that stuff was happening. So if you can see here, let me drop this camera because you can't see anything. If you can see here, Sasha is sporting a pair of stock or OE F90 intercoolers. They were custom fitted to this car, and I had to move a lot of stuff around to get these things to fit. Like I had to put a custom upper radiator hose on, a custom radiator hose fitting, and a couple other things, but that's not what we're talking about here. Let me turn this light on so I can show you exactly what the beans is. So when these intercoolers come from the factory, on the passenger side the port is up front, and on the driver's side the port is in the rear. But that won't fit because I have RK intakes, and when you have RK intakes you need the port to be in the rear, or the intakes won't clear the intercooler to drop down in front of the engine to suck fresh air from the grills. So what we did was cut this off, moved it back, welded it, and boom, boom, that's it. And well, we thought that was it. But what happens is these intercoolers weigh about 7.3 pounds a piece. So that's pretty light. You know, I mean, you would think because it's the actual end caps being PA66 GFs30, that's glass fiber, plastic and glass fiber, but it's not just that. This aluminum is pretty thin as well. And what happened is when we weld the factory connector on this side, it over penetrated and it closed the actual opening up of the, you know, the coolant exit. And now this cooler has become a restriction, and it's holding the coolant inside of the intercooler for a longer period of time versus that one, giving the turbocharge more time to heat that coolant up. So about time the turbocharge passes through here to get to the engine, this intercooler is a lot hotter, so it's sending 20 degrees higher temps in this side of the engine. So the engine is just pulling timing all willy-nilly. You know, we didn't know why I was pulling timing at first because we could see only half of the DME1, which most tuners tune with, and what you usually see is DME1, but Butte Mod 3 gives you the option to turn DME1 and DME2 on so you can see the differences between both sides of the engine. And man, I'm glad we did, because we can see that now. Well, custom tuners, they're going to have you turn both DMEs on anyways, well, data from both DMEs. So what we did to rectify that, let's get over here and see. Boom. Now we're moving from 7.5 inch or 7.3 pound intercoolers to pretty much 15 pound intercoolers. So that's 15 pounds off the front and 30 pounds going on it, you know. And these intercoolers are extremely custom, and they might not look good now, but they will look good before they go on, because these little sections where brackets were cut and smoothed off, they were, you know, you got to take the paint off, you know. But I will be wrapping this center section here with the same, where is it? You can see it down here, with the same closed cell foam that the inner chiller is wrapped with, and that will keep the center sections, which is the business end on these things, nice and insulated. And then I'll be just spray painting this top piece here black, you know. But these things are extremely heavy, and the good thing about these versus the old coolers is the old coolers have a 17 millimeter port for the entrance and exit. We have full 1-inch ports on here now, entrance and exit. We also moved the bleeder valve, well, the bleeder port up to the front of the cooler, and I'll show you why. As you can see on my car, the cooler sit a little back, so this is the highest part of the cooler, the outside front corner, so that's where any trapped air is gonna migrate. As you can see, this corner is higher, just barely, but you can see it goes back in a slant. So this is where the air is going to get trapped, and that's where those little bleeders are going to come into play. And that's because we won't be using these little bleeders anymore, since they're stuck onto these 17mm choke down little connectors here. And this is full 1-inch. So now it's going to be 1-inch all the way through. So we're going to flow a hell of a lot more cold interchiller fluid and a lot more volume of interchiller fluid through these new intercoolers at the same time. Big shout out to my buddy the laminator. He did all the work on these things, and it was not easy to do. And that's because this is a 1/4-inch thick aluminum plate all the way around. I mean, just this thick. See how thick that is? It's that thick all the way around. You know, I mean, these things are stout, and that's why they are twice the weight of the factory coolers. Okay, I've already taken the liberty of disconnecting a lot of stuff on this thing. I took the intakes out, took the little charge pipe connectors out. As you can see, the charge pipe is built into these intercoolers, just like the original ones that came on this engine. That's why the F90 ones fit so easily in here, because they're very similar to the F86 and F85 intercoolers, but now they're aluminum. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. Now they're aluminum, and man, I just can't wait to put those in. But I've already disconnected all the lines, the throttle body connection coupler down under the intercooler. I've already loosened that. So actually, if these hoses weren't connected, I could just pull the intercoolers right up and get them out. But I'm gonna have to drain the system first, because these hoses have to be disconnected. And also, I have everything I need to put the new ones in. This is the closed cell foam. These are my little charge pipe with my 4th fuel pump hob switch. I'm going to insulate the interchiller hoses this time. My little couplers here, some more 90s, 1-inch 90s, and I use the Gates Power Grip versus a bunch of these, because these are way better on, you know, hoses and stuff, and it looks a hell of a lot cleaner. As you can see, I have the Gates Power Grip there, here, and really all throughout this system. So it's going to be a easy job, you know. So I'm going to jack this car up, drain it out, and then we can get these coolers out.
2,000 years later.
Okay, so after fighting tooth and nail to get these things out, because they aren't easy. They aren't easy at all. And I don't do how to and all those type of reviews, or, you know, little things to show you guys, because my car is totally different. It's extremely modified, and 90% of the stuff that you have to take off or go around, I don't, or it's a different 90% of stuff that I have to take off or go around. So it's not even worth me showing you guys, you know. But I'm gonna show you exactly what the difference is between these two coolers, size wise and everything else. So I mean, if it isn't apparent right off bat, you can see that that cooler is massive compared to the factory F90 cooler. I mean, it's crazy. That is crazy. That is one massive cooler. Let me flip them this way. That's a big difference. And even when you think they could be similarly sized, I'm gonna show you what you're probably being fooled by. This is just a clamp that clamps the, the top cap and rear cap on. The cooler body actually sits in that. This entire cap there, that entire body is the actual cooler body on this side. So it's gargantuan compared to that one, and the charge pipes have become, these were like flow matched and, for the best flow possible, air path and all of those scientific words they use to make sure the air speed is correct without any obstruction. I'm sure they did this on this one as well, but you can see that the snout here stays the same size all the way through, where this one grows, almost immediately, to allow for more room, for more boost, to pass through the intercooler. And now I'm going to show you on the actual car the massive difference between both. That's ridiculous. Let me back this camera up a little bit. Hold on, let me back it up. As you can see, that's massive. It's crazy. This thing looks like it's its own city just sitting in there compared to this one. Get you a top view and a 3/4 view. That thing is crazy. And of course, it's some obstruction that I have to clear out, just the same way I had to do for these coolers. And these coolers are extreme, like double the weight. So they're very, very heavy as well. So I ordered let me drop this camera a little more. I ordered the F90 brackets that go into the engine block, since the engine blocks are extremely similar. I ordered the brackets, and it should bolt here and then hold the cooler in this area here, because it's a grommet. Let me show you that grommet. It's a grommet that goes inside the cooler on the bottom. As you can see on this cooler, that's the provision for it. And on this one, it's like in the body. That's how much bigger that cooler is. It's crazy versus that one. So yeah, that's wild. But the only bad thing is there were only 2 of these brackets in the United States. I found one at a salvage yard for $25. They aren't expensive. They're only $35 to $40 at the dealer. I called one dealer here, in my area, and they said $80-something, which is ridiculously overpriced compared to every other dealer I called. So I just told them have a good day. But neither of them have shipped. So what I'm going to be working on now, let me flip this camera. What I'm going to be working on now is just getting the fitment correct with the coolers, because they don't fit at all. They fit, like the cooler drops down into the coupler on top of the mass airflow sensor, and it almost lines up with the turbo outlet, but it's not perfect. So it has to be some trimming done, a little bit of cutting done, not in any, detrimental spots for safety and stuff like that. Just regular, like, shave this down, knock this corner off like it was to get these in, so I'm going to be working on doing that. And when the brackets come in, we're going to do that. I'm also going to paint these things up, and then hopefully by next Sunday's video, or, if not, I don't know what to say, but hopefully by next Sunday they'll be in, so I can go ahead and get these things installed and we can get back on the track. Before we get on the track, do a couple of pulls to make sure the same air temp is going in, IATs on both sides of the engine, and then get back on the track to finally test this new transmission V3 tune from XHP, since they think they got all the bugs kinked out and she's managing torque correctly to launch correctly. So that's what we're hoping for, fingers crossed. And it should be a lot warmer out. It's summertime, springtime, so that's even better at the track. So like, share, and subscribe, and AutoLust out.